Hello, 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 everyone. How are you all doing today? I hope that you're all having a very good afternoon. They're doing some work upstairs or something because every once in a while there might be some banging. I will try to do my best. But the little one is home today. And as of March 24th of this year, LinkedIn has 810 million members across 200 countries. And really, the platform is popular, to say the least, among professionals. It enables anyone in the world to see another's professional background and all of their contacts and all of their skills as well. In effect, this can help someone that's looking for a job stand out from the crowd, especially during their job searches and screening processes. But the platform has kind of also attracted some scammers, and LinkedIn scams have actually grown more than other social media sites. In most cases, it's due to the trust associated with users being professionals. That's to say, users assume that all users are like them, professionals. There is a false sense of security, plus the potential for credible connections from strangers, and this makes LinkedIn a complete scammer's dream. They love it. And so there has been a recent case where a young woman has come out and she has actually gone viral on TikTok and has done an article. I found an amazing synopsis of it, if you will. So we're going to be going through that today because she has been scammed on LinkedIn. And since these scams are so prevalent, I thought it would be really important to talk about that today. He is actually, Joe, we have talked about it, we've gone through it. He is. And yes, thank you. She wasn't home yesterday with the fire alarm test. No, although the funny thing is that this is the fire alarm in our like living room. It's almost like a PA system. So when it goes off, she doesn't get bothered by it as much. It's kind of funny that she doesn't hear it. I'm like, well, then what's the point? So, without further ado, I am going to play our intro and then we are going to get right into this article to talk about this scam. She tells her story pretty well, and then this article adds to it. So, I think it's a good way to go through it and discuss it. And then we're going to talk about how to protect yourselves from these scams on LinkedIn, as I'm sure there's lots of people out here that are job searching. Unfortunately, the pandemic did have people losing jobs. And so there are more people than ever job searching right now. And I think that has something to do with the reason why so many people are getting scammed as well, because we know these scammers love to prey on people during the pandemic and during vulnerable times. So let's just get right into it. So this young woman is only 22 years old, which is a bit upsetting. Unfortunately, I've talked about this before in terms of MLMs. I am very worried about the younger generations entering the workforce because of the amount of scams out here, because of the fact that MLMs can actually ruin somebody's view on employment, working, having a career, and the likes. Hustle culture is bullcrap, really. And we even have this whole quiet quitting thing going on. So I wouldn't want to be a young person right now trying to find a job. It sounds like hell. So she got scammed by a fake job. She said she went to excited to devastated in a month. Beautiful young woman. Her name is Callie Heim. She was thrilled to start a marketing job with Waymo, the buzzy self driving car company, earlier this summer. She'd had a tough year. Her mom recently passed away, which I am so sorry for. She moved back home and she was adjusting to life after college. So, again, a pretty vulnerable time in her life. The job offer felt like a turning point. I was at my lowest of lows and felt like I was on the come up of some good things. The 22-year-old Towson University grad tells CNBC Make It. But elation quickly faded when she got a message from her new employer. Before she started, she'd have to buy her own laptop and work phone from a company portal, and they'd send her a check to cover the costs. When the check arrived in the mail, the alarm bell sounded off. Heim had been scammed by a fake job listing. I went from excited to devastated in a month. In a series of TikTok videos that have since gone viral, Heim recounts how she applied to the job via LinkedIn's Easy Apply function and went through what felt like a normal, even promising interview process. First, she answered a few questions about her marketing background through Wire, an encrypted messaging app she was asked to download. And that is now a red flag. But as we know, hindsight is always, always 2020. It's easy to look back and be like, oh, this is what I did.
By a LinkedIn job posting. And it took me a month to post about it because it was really humbling and really embarrassing. And I've been wanting to make a video about it for a while, but I hadn't. But I've decided I want to do that now to spread awareness and so this doesn't happen to somebody else. So basically, I applied via Easy Apply to like a bunch of marketing jobs, remote ones, some in person, some hybrid. And basically, for one of them, I received a quick email back probably within a couple days, and they said they liked my resume and my application and they wanted to move the process along, yada yada. So I'm like excited, and they told me to download this app, which at the time I didn't realize it was a red flag, but like looking back, yes, it was a red flag. But they told me to download this app called Wire. It's like a messaging app. I thought it was kind of like a Microsoft Teams situation. So I download this app. They told me to add this person as they're going to be my like point of contact situation. And they were like, oh, we have this new software. We're going to do an interview over the messaging platform. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sick. At least I don't have to do, I'm being naive, but I was like, oh, this is cool. I mean, I guess I don't have to do a face-to-face interview. And I was like, well, the company's a tech company too, and it's very futuristic and it's based out in California. So I was like, oh, this is cool. I mean, they said, oh, we're like a futuristic kind of company, so we're using this futuristic kind of approach to interviewing. So I believed it. Yeah. So they asked me like specific marketing questions, not just like tell me about yourself. It was like specific questions about marketing. Like they asked me, what does engagement mean to you? Tell me about a time you experienced a social media crisis and how you fixed it, and yada yada. And I had really thoughtful answers for each one. And then the interview was over. I don't know how many questions I answered, but then it was over and I got a call back the next morning. I get a phone call from this man and he's like, oh, Callie, this is Thomas Hines or whatever he said. And he was like, thank you so much for your application and during doing the interview. And like after seeing your responses, we'd like to move forward with the interview process. And then they were like, another person's going to call you. So then I did a phone interview with another person and spent like 10 minutes on the phone answering questions. And they told me that they were going to give me a computer and a phone and other things because it's remote social media management job, which kind of is typical for that kind of thing. You kind of, or in some jobs, you get a computer or a phone. And so I'm excited. They pretty much gave me the job like after a day of talking to them further, which again is a red flag, but at the time I didn't realize. And and I'm running out of time, but in part 2, I'll explain how I knew it was a scam and what information I gave them and how I fixed it. I got scammed by a LinkedIn job posting.
So that's her telling part of the story. It says she was invited to a phone interview the next day where the interviewer said the job would entail getting a computer and phone to do her job remotely. She then got another phone call the day after with an offer. Again, that's a red flag. And it's hard because I have been offered a job at the end of an interview before, but it was in an actual office building for a real job. I had gone to the building. You know what I mean? It's harder, I think, over the phone or over the internet. After a few more conversations, she filled out some employment forms, submitted a scan of her driver's license, and sent over her bank information to get set up for direct deposit. And that is worrisome. Then she was told she'd need to buy her home equipment up front and then be reimbursed for it later. In reality, this is what's known as a fake check scam, where scammers hope you'll send them money and reimburse you with a bad check. Sometimes they'll send a check first, tell you to deposit it, and hope you buy your equipment. In reality, send them money before the check bounces. Thankfully, Haim realized the scam once the check arrived. It looks so photoshopped, she says, and before she actually sent any money to the scammers. But she did have to immediately close her compromised bank account and freeze her credit line. She describes the experience as humiliating and a shot to her confidence. She also felt embarrassed that the news was so excited for and shared widely with friends and family wasn't real. I went from excited to devastated in a month because she would have gone around telling everyone she got this job, right? The experience has been emotionally draining to say the very least, but Haim considers herself lucky that she didn't lose any money in the process. Says here that Americans were scammed out of $86 million due to fake businesses and job opportunities in the second quarter of 2022. And that's according to the FTC. A crazy amount. People reported nearly 21,600 incidents of business and job opportunity scams during that time, with roughly a third of those resulting in a financial loss. And a third is a lot. Employment related scams have been a persistent problem, but rose in 2020, of course, as criminals took advantage of people who lost work due to COVID. Rhonda Perkins, an attorney and chief of staff for the FTC's Division of Marketing Practices, told CNBC. Job scams take a variety of forms. Bad actors could pose as a staffing or temp agency and require a fee for their services. List fake mystery shopping, government or postal jobs, or post reshipping and reskilling scams on the false promise of making money from home. Or they might imitate a reputable employer and create a fake website or post fake listings on job search sites, like what happened to Haim. So we're going to listen to part 2 now. Well, better that she caught it before sending money. Closing an account is a pain, but better than the other option. Yes, for sure. And I do recommend that if you ever get involved in something like this, that you do close off that bank account, because even if you put a stop payment on that one specific thing, they can still try to pull money out. So you have to be careful of that as well.
For those who cringed along with me for the first part, this is part 2 of how I got scammed from a LinkedIn job posting. Also, that sounds like it's LinkedIn's fault. It's not LinkedIn's fault. Somebody was impersonating a HR person from a company that already had a job posted on LinkedIn. So they literally made their account look exactly like that one. So it looked very legit because the actual job posting was real. Anyway, so they gave me the job, and then they were like, somebody's going to call you tomorrow to get started with onboarding. So I'm on the phone with this person the next day, and they're like telling me that I'm going to get a computer, I'm going to get a phone, I'm going to get a printer, all this stuff so I can work from home. And everything seemed like so awesome. But of course, if it seems too good to be true, it's too good to be true. The pay was good, the benefits were good, the hours were good, everything was good. So I should have known. However, anyway, so when things start getting fishy, and my hiring manager messaged me and was like, yeah, so about the computer and stuff, like they kept talking about this computer. They were like, so you're going to be reimbursed for buying the computer through our portal. Immediately, the alarm bells in my head were going off. However, I was so excited about the job that I was like, let me see it through. And I called my boyfriend because he works in like cyber security. That's not even what he does, but something similar to that. And he was like, that seems a little suspect. And I was kind of offended because I was like, oh, do you not think I'm like qualified for this social media management job? Anyway, but I kept kind of prying more and more with this HR person, and they were like, yeah, we're going to reimburse you for this thing. And they're like, we'll actually send you the check for the computer and the phone right now. They send me the most photoshopped check you've ever seen, which would obviously bounce. Oh my God, I just realized I forgot to even say, before any of this stuff happened, they made me like sign, scan, and fax over all of my documents. So I gave them all my stuff for direct deposit. So my bank account number, my routing number, all that good stuff, they had access to now. They had a copy of my driver's license. I filled out all the forms that you would fill out. It was on company letterhead. I didn't think anything of it. But anyway, my boyfriend does like 2 minutes of research and was like, the Wire app has been known for scams with job applications, and the exact thing that happened to me has happened to other people using this same thing. So yeah, it was definitely humbling because I had already posted on LinkedIn. It was like, oh, this is my new job, and all my old coworkers and everyone was like, oh, congrats. And yeah, it was very embarrassing. Anyway, if you're hiring for a remote marketing job, let me know.
Please do let her know. She seems very, very sweet and definitely did not deserve this. And I'm sure she was overqualified for this job. I'm just saying. The thing about this is whenever I talk about scams, one of the major pushbacks I always get from people that don't understand why I dedicate my time to talking about cults and scams is they don't understand how people could fall for these things. For example, in this case, there was a real job posting from the actual company. She saw it and went, hey, I want to apply for that job. Somehow they knew that she had wanted to apply for it. I'm not sure if on LinkedIn you can like heart jobs or something. I haven't used that thing in years, but like I've gotten my jobs by talking to people in person. But they find out now they've created already this whole website that is basically a fork in its entirety of the real business website. The web address used for these types of scams is usually very, very similar. There will be like one little thing added in, like maybe like the number 1 or something. And it's very easy for people to not realize it. So she felt like she did her research. She felt like she found it on LinkedIn through their job search thing. They have like this little quick job app thing that you can use, and that's where she found this. And like I said, she had a false sense of security because a lot of times people think, well, it's on LinkedIn, so it won't be a scam. And we're seeing a problem with that now, of course. The FBI says these are some warning signs to look out for through the hiring process. Interviews are not conducted in person or through a secure video call, but rather on a teleconferencing app using an email address instead of a phone number. And that email address will also be like their business email address. It won't be like at Hotmail or at gmail.com. It will be at their actual business. Potential employers contact victims through non-company email domains and teleconference applications. Again, it probably won't be Zoom. It won't be Facebook you're talking to them on. It definitely won't be OConnect, so we don't have to worry about that. And again, the email will come from the actual company. Like if you are applying to, I don't freaking know, Wendy's, it will be like Joe Smo at wendyscanada.ca. If you're here in Canada with me, for example, it won't be like I work at Wendy's at hotmail.com. Okay. And I know it sounds silly, but a lot of people don't think to look for that. So always double check the email that's sending this stuff to you. Potential employers require employees to purchase startup equipment from the company or pay for background screenings. And they even talk about this in terms of MLMs. Purchasing a starter kit, for example. When you get hired for a job, they're supposed to pay you for doing the job. They're supposed to provide all the tools necessary for you to do that job. So if you get a job and then they're saying, okay, now you have to buy this and that and the other thing, that's a little sus. I do know that there's some jobs out there, especially in the minimum wage sector. Jesus, learn how to talk, Queen. Where like maybe if you have a uniform at your job, then they'll like take a bit out of your paycheck or whatever. That's the only time that might be okay. Even then it's a little sus. I would like talk to them about that and be like, what the hell? If I pay for this, I'm keeping it, by the way, forever. You're not getting it back when I leave here, or else you're giving me my money back for it. But they're not going to say to you, you have to purchase a computer. There might be some jobs that require that you already own a computer, but they're not going to be like, you have to go and buy this specific computer from us too, by the way. That's really sus. Potential employers request credit card information. Again, there is no reason why they would ever need your credit card information. Your bank information for direct deposit, possibly, but I don't recommend ever giving that out, even for an application process, because that's very sus. They don't need it yet. Wait until you've gone into the job and you're at your first day of training, for example. In all the jobs that I've ever been in, they have never asked me for my bank account information until I'm like physically there on the first day of work. And then they'll be like, okay, now that you're here working, we need to get you to sign some forms and whatnot, and some policies and procedures and all that. That's when you can maybe hand them over that bank information. But not before then. They don't need it for an application process. Job postings appear on job boards, but not on the company's website. Even if you see a job posting on LinkedIn from a company, just go double check. It'll also be on their website. It's just a way to keep yourself safe. If it's not also on the company's website, then that's a scam. Recruiters or managers don't have profiles on the job board or the profiles do not seem to fit their roles. And that can always be sus. Lesson learned. After getting scammed, Heim took a few weeks off from applying to jobs, but is back on the market with new vigilance. For one, she makes sure to verify that any job posting she sees on sites like LinkedIn or Glassdoor match up with one on the company's website. But that can be tricky since anyone can spoof a real website, which again is the one that she fell for. They did an entire spoof of Waymo's hiring page and their website. Right? So it's not like she didn't go to a website that looked exactly like the company website and go, oh, okay, yeah, it's the same. But she's going to tell us how we definitely have to be extra cautious. I only been asked for direct deposits info when I started, never before. Exactly. They will never ask you for that before. It's always the first day you're on the job, the second day you're on the job. I've had them like hand me the form on the first day and be like, just get it back to us by the end of the week because we need it. Because here in Canada, you're usually working for about 3 weeks without getting paid. If you're getting paid bi-weekly, right? So it's like they have like a whole week for you to fill out all the paperwork and hand it in while you're working there kind of deal. So they're not going to be like, I'm going to need that information from you before you even show up on your first day because they don't have anything to pay you yet for. Once you show up there, then they have to pay you because now you showing up, right? So it's like now they can ask for it. But before that, no. You'd have to go directly to the website, Google it first. Yes. It's just a good idea to double check and make sure, like double check and make sure. And like, yeah, Google it. Don't click on the link in the job posting in case, again, it's a fake job posting with the fake website. That doesn't help.
Oh, so just some more details I left out. So first of all, the company that I got the job for was called Waymo, and it's like autonomous driving vehicles and trucks. Yes, that was who I worked for. Also, the day I found out that it was a scam, I was teaching swim lessons. So I was literally dripping wet in my bathing suit when I put 2 and 2 together, or my boyfriend helped me put 2 and 2 together by sending me this. It says the most frequent scam we are aware of that involves wire is the job application scam. Fraudsters impersonate large organizations and offer jobs or interviews over messaging platforms such as Wire. Most often, the victim is someone who had become a remote working employee. They get offered the job and then are asked to buy a laptop and mobile through a portal that is set up by the fraudster under the promise that they will be reimbursed when joining the company. This is exactly word for word what happened to me. Anyway, so I was in my swimsuit and I was like, I need to go to the bank and shut down my bank account because not only were they going to give me this bounce check, whatever, but now they had access to my bank account. And so I had to run to the bank, close my account down, dripping wet in my swimsuit, and I was crying in there because it was just so embarrassing. So I'm just standing in the bank like, hey guys, can you help me? They were like, what's wrong? And then I immediately started crying and I was like, well, I just gave all my checking information to a stranger and I was panicking because all the money I made this entire summer was in there in one account. So I was like, I really need to close that account down. Anyway, so I closed the account, and luckily I closed it before they got any money out of there. Thank God my boyfriend knew what he was talking about. And he trusted his gut, which helped me out. But yeah, they definitely didn't financially scam me, but they did emotionally scam me because the way I was so excited for that job. I actually told everyone in my family. I mean, all my friends know I've had a terrible year. My mom passed away. My cat ran away. I've just had a crazy year. And the best thing that could have happened to me was I get a job fresh out of college and it's something awesome. And it was for a tech company. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like perfect. Everything's falling into place, but it really wasn't. But that's okay. It's okay. I learned some lessons here about being naive on the internet, and other things, like probably don't post about getting a new job on LinkedIn until like you're actually started working. I just was excited. Just beware and be vigilant. Kind of know that if a job is asking for you to do too much during the interview process, it's probably not good. Like if you have to download an app, an encrypted app, but if you have to download that app, it's not real and it's not good, and they're trying to scam you out of money or something. So my glasses are fogged up. I'm in Florida.
She makes me so sad because I want to be like, don't be embarrassed. You don't even know. The bank has people come in all the time with that. They're not judging you. I really wish people would stop judging people that get taken by these things, though, because that's why. And then sometimes people don't want to speak out about it because they're scared that they're going to look stupid. And it's embarrassing. Enough has, without all that. Take it a step further by looking up the name of the company or the person who's contacting you, plus the words scam, review, or complaint, Perkins sends. Run the company or staffing agency through the BBB, the Better Business Bureau's directory. You can also contact the employer directly using information you found on your own, as in not an email or phone number provided to you through an unsolicited message, to verify the legitimacy of the job and how to apply. It's tempting to use LinkedIn's Easy Apply to rapidly apply to a bunch of jobs. But if you take the time to write your cover letters and reach out to the company directly, you might have more success. Then that's what that young woman added. She also knows that if anyone is asking for your financial information before you're hired, that's a no-go. Again, these employers only ask for your social insurance or your social security number after you're hired, right? And even then, you should still be vigilant to confirm their identity in person or over video before you share it. Like I said, do not share it until you know these people. You've gone into the job and worked a day there. You're in there for your interview hiring process. The scary thing is that even these MLMs will make it look like you're working at a job. So you got to be very careful. I would hate to be job searching. It's the worst way to learn a lesson, but it taught me about being naive on the internet. Heim adds, you never know who you're actually talking to. It's a scary reality, isn't it? What to do if you've been scammed. If you see or lose money to a job scam, Perkins says to report it to the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov. And if you're concerned about becoming a victim of identity theft, you can report it and get a personalized recovery plan with the FTC at identitytheft.gov. LinkedIn has numerous resources to help job seekers spot and avoid scams, including taking extra precautions for work from home jobs. A LinkedIn spokesperson says fake profiles and fraudulent activity are against its user policies, and that the platform uses automated and manual defenses to detect and address violations. Whenever we find such materials, we work to remove them quickly and are constantly investing in new ways to improve detection. We also encourage members to report anything that doesn't seem right so we can investigate. Yes, please do. If you're on LinkedIn and you see something that looks weird, definitely report it. Wire, the messaging app, says it is aware fraudsters use the app for job-related scams. It reminds candidates that they should never be asked to purchase their own work equipment, and if they're in doubt, they should contact a senior employee of the company to ask if these are standard business practices. Again, I feel like a lot of these places could do a lot more. We'll get into that. Waymo says in interviews with the company are conducted either in person or over video conferencing and never over email, Telegram, or even just the telephone or other platforms. And notes best practices on its hiring page, according to a statement provided to CNBC. We also work with cybercrime experts and alert anti-fraud departments for career sites when we learn about scam accounts with a goal of getting them removed as quickly as possible. Haim feels good about sharing her story now. My friends and I joke about it now, but at the time it was a hit to my confidence and ego. Her confidence is back up now that she has a few job leads in hand. Some recruiters even reached out in response to her videos. Woo! Yes, go hire this woman. And buoyed by positive responses that she's made a difference. People have come to me and said, oh my God, I was just on the Wire app this morning interviewing for a job. Now I've blocked and deleted that number. Hearing I've helped them makes me feel good, she says. Good job. So unfortunately, she went through a scam. But the good news is that she's told her story and she's obviously reported these people. So whatever account it was that scammed her and pulled this BS on her is now reported, and, they won't be scamming anymore. Now, my whole thing is that I feel like LinkedIn could be doing a lot more. I do. I feel like LinkedIn could be doing something to, I don't know, double check these job applications. And so I have a hard time being like, yeah, you can just like totally report it on their site and then everything gets like taken care of. And I'm like, no, though, that's not enough. It's really not enough. I don't think it is. There are so many other things that they could be doing, and it's like anyone can kind of post up their job on there, which seems like a good thing. But then when you have scammers like this, is it really a good thing? Is there more that they should be doing to ensure that these, people aren't scammers? Thought you worked at McDonald's. But yeah, I feel like there's more that they could be doing. They could be making these employers hand in more information when they sign up so that it's harder for these people to make fake accounts. They have a decent reporting system, but once again, it's like, how do you just sit around and just keep reporting it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's going to do anything. It really doesn't do much. So let's just quickly take a little look at their actual page here. The LinkedIn's scam, spam, identifying abuse safety center, if you will. Spam refers to abusive, harmful, or disruptive messages and content. We encourage you to flag any content you see on LinkedIn as abusive or disruptive. So I guess, go report Ash because he's very disruptive, as we know. Reporting spam. If you see content that violates our user agreement, you can let us know by using the report option on our site. Your report will remain confidential. More information on spam and how to report spam can be found here. Phishing is a tactic used by cybercriminals that typically consists of sending emails claiming to be from a legitimate company or a person. Their goal is to get you to surrender sensitive information such as credit cards, usernames, passwords, or installing malware by inviting you to click on links in emails and messages, or as we just saw, getting you to download some kind of app, right? That's the same thing. Scam messages are usually sent by fraudsters under false identities or by impersonating legitimate people. Their goal ranges from trying to steal your money, your identity, or collect personal information or images that can be used for extortion, as in hack your phone and get you nudies. Protecting yourself from phishing. A few ways that you can help protect yourself from phishing scams are by entering your login credentials only on LinkedIn.com or in the LinkedIn mobile app, and by not installing software from unknown sources. If you receive emails that threaten to close your account unless you act quickly, it may be an attempt to phish for your login credentials. Keep in mind that LinkedIn will never ask you to do otherwise. To learn more about how to identify a phishing email and examples of current trends, you can come to this website. They also have an area where you can report phishing. So that's actually at phishing, spelled phishing, at linkedin.com. And they say if you see content on LinkedIn that's suspicious or seems like a scam, please flag it. There is a ... icon within the content that you can click on and then report. One way to prevent seeing scams is by accepting or sending invitations only to people you know or trust. This reduces the channels in which scammers can send you messages and also reduces the exposure of scammers to your network, because the more networks you are connected to, the more people can see you, right? It's one of those, LinkedIn is like one of those apps where like you can see everyone who you're connected to. So some scammers will just go from account to account to account, going through friends lists, trying to freaking scam everyone, right? If you've received a scam message on LinkedIn, please report it to us using a form. If you go to their help center, there is an actual form that you can fill out. Members' profiles are their professional identities on LinkedIn, so it is important that they are legitimate and accurate. If you see a member profile that you believe is fake, inaccurate, or misleading, we encourage you to flag it to us. Please do. Duplicate accounts. Members sometimes inadvertently create an account or forget that they already have an account and create a new one. If you have a duplicate account, you can close it by following the self-close instructions on the settings page. So they have that. I'm sure that also if you forget your password or something, there's a way to, get your password back. Reporting inaccurate information. Profile information on LinkedIn should be truthful and accurate. If you see an account that is false or inaccurate information, again, please flag it. And also, please report all fake profiles, because I'm sure you will see lots of them on there. They have a whole area on here talking about how you can protect yourself. There are precautions you should keep in mind when reading and responding to messages you receive. For example, when searching for jobs online, be wary of recruiters who ask you to send copies of personal identifiable information to an email address that isn't associated with the company, as well as requests to wire or transfer money for an application fee. So once again, they will never, ever, ever ask for that. They also have all of the information here and on like how to protect yourself. They have, everything about family and safety. And there's even a data request guidelines. So if you do get scammed, please do come here. I will leave the link to this in the chat right now. Not nudes, feet pics. Find spam. Spam. Yeah, they're trying to phish and hack us for our feet pics. It must be Niccolo. He's the scammer. That's what's going on. But yes, basically it's very, very much a cruel world out there, and you have to do whatever you can to protect yourself from these LinkedIn scams if you're out here looking for a job, or even if you're just using it. I hear that LinkedIn is turning into a social media app a lot like Facebook. So people aren't just going there for jobs anymore. And that is worrisome to me. So again, please protect yourselves. I'm going to go take a nap because I am also working on several videos that I have to edit. I got my little one home. I'm tired. We got some things we got to work on together today and this weekend. So I hope that I did a decent job of helping this woman share her story. Please do share this stream around to help her story get out, as you know, she's recovering by also sharing her story and helping others. It's a great thing to do. I just want to say though, if you are ever in a scam like this, you have nothing to feel embarrassed about. Know that you're not the only one. And also, I did a whole video on how scammers actually go after the most intelligent people, not the dum-dums. So you have no reason to feel stupid. Please stop adding stigma to the victims of scams. They are not dumb people. You know, they have no reason to be embarrassed. They have no reason to feel silly. And it's hard enough to come and admit that something like that has happened to you. It feels extremely violating. And I think that we need to make it as easy as we can out here in society for people to talk about these things. Because if nobody wants to talk about them, then we will never be able to stop them. It's very important that people feel comfortable in our world to speak out when these things occur. And then that way we can gather all of the evidence and make sure that we do whatever we can to stop them from happening. Let me know down below what you think LinkedIn could be doing. Is there more screening that they could be doing for people coming on the website? Do you think they should start doing that? Or do you think that they're doing everything they can? And no matter where you are, what you're doing, I hope that you all have a fabulous day. Take care, and I will see you all very, very soon. I will let you know if I'm coming on this weekend for a stream or not. Kind of depends on the little one, so bear with me. But no matter what, there'll be a lot of comedy and videos coming out next week. Take care, and yeah, just be careful on LinkedIn, guys. Mwah. Bye, and don't be fucking scamming people.